right, so it's Tom and Mike, Property Pilots, back in action today to give you a quick update on 37. We're going to do a flyover and just talk about a few things we know that's going on with the construction that's being done. So make a right turn here, take the camera off of Mike and I, and we'll hit the 37 with the notes we know.
Yeah, so we're roughly right on 37 right now, just north of the 69, split. So there's 126th Street. That is 100% complete. That was the first major intersection that saw work. And then obviously as we progress north, we're going to be coming up on 131st Street right here, which they really just kind of started, most recently working on. And then further north on there, we're going to hit 141st Street. And then eventually we'll hit 146th Street down here towards the end.
Now, one of the things I found out is 135th Street, which we're probably
right
pretty close. Yeah, that is not going to be a roundabout.
Correct.
So that is going to be right-hand turns only. So if you're going north on it, you'll be able to turn right onto 135th. And of course, if you're coming west on it, you'll be able to go north on 37 and vice versa on the west side of it. So,
yeah, great point there. And obviously the stoplight will be eliminated at that intersection. So, so we're coming up here. Let's see, we're at what 131st Street, 141st Street, and then coming up on 146. So 146 is where the bulk of the activity is happening right now. That is, in terms of the overall project, that's the biggest scope as far as the intersections go. So just a ton of work going on there. They're actually tunneling under right now, underneath 146th Street. So that's coming pretty close. So we're about 6 months away from 146th Street being completely done.
Yeah.
Which is going to be, I know, a welcome change for the folks that live there. And anyone who travels up and down the 37 corridor. So one thing I will say, though, you and I travel up and down 37 quite often, is that it's been fairly easy going, I think, as far as the way that they've done the construction traffic. So
yeah, they've had some overnight closures and things of that nature that, I guess if I was out at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'd probably have a problem with. But in general, I think they've tried to keep the flow fairly reasonable, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's gone pretty well, probably better than most people expected. So looking down here, you can see 146th Street from the other side of the road here. That's going to be completed, or at least they're planning on it being completed in May of 22. So again, roughly 6 months or so away from that, weather dependent over the winter months. But they're making great progress on that. So.
I'll tell you a couple of things I researched and found out that the original project cost, all right? Are you ready for this?
Ooh, I am sitting down,
yeah.
so.
$124 million is when they started this project, that's what they forecasted.
Okay.
In September, they updated their budget. You want to know what that, first of all, above or below? What do you think?
Anything government, I'm going to say above, but
right.
I'm going to hope that they're doing it below.
That's what I love about you, is you're so hopeful and glass is half full.
Which is usually wrong more times than not.
We're going to be over, and they're going to right now in September they had a projected cost of $168 million.
Okay.
So Fishers is going to pay for part of that. They're going to take out some bonds to do that, to get their portion paid, and that I expect to see that, if it's not already passed, to be done. Most of the overage, twofold. Number one, drainage.
Yeah.
So the drainage is running way more than they anticipated, and then labor costs, which, surprise, surprise, at this point in time, labor costs are
anything labor related. You're paying a premium at this juncture. So
yeah, and overall, I think you mentioned it, but the overall completion date is targeted for 2023. So we've still got some time to go with this.
Yeah. So let's talk about time frame. So really, the drainage part that you mentioned, they really started that in the latter part of 2018. Believe it or not, whether you noticed it or not, it was starting. And most of that was completed late 2019, early 2020. So that was basically phase number one. 126th Street, which we're passing right now, that was the first intersection that really, got any work done to it. So they started that in the middle of 2019. and they wrapped that up late 2020. It was right around, I think, like Thanksgiving, Christmas time of last year.
Yeah.
That got completed. So, just really nice intersection. I'm so excited to see what 146 looks like when they're done with that. If it's anything like 126, it's going to be really, really nice.
Yeah.
So after 126th Street, they bumped up to all the way up north to 146 and started working on that. And that's the longest project. So that's about a 2-year project that they're working on right now.
Right.
So they started that early part of 2020, again, May of 2022. So we're fastly approaching that. It will be done. 131st Street, that's already begun. They started that latter part of 2020. It's going to be done, really coming around pretty soon. Early summer, June, July timeframe of 2022.
I read on 37thrives.com, so that's the site to kind of go to if you want to have more information about this. I read that they may have 131st done a little bit closer to the springtime, which would be pretty cool.
They're making progress on it. So, really, when you look at it, overall, within just the next 6 months, so by late spring, early summer of 2022, 3 of the 4 intersections will all be completed. So, talking about just a big jump forward in the overall, scope of the project. To know that we're so close, we're roughly about 6 months away from 3 of the 4 intersections being fully done is a really good feeling.
All right, so the fun fact that in preparation for today, the fun fact that I found was that way back in 2015, they did a study on what they called intersection failure rates.
Okay.
And basically what they said is the definition of an intersection failure is that if all traffic in all directions has a delay of more than 80 seconds or more, then that's considered failure.
Gotcha.
Right. So they have, there's actually a graphic, and we'll put a link to the graphic in the comments below. But they have a link that does each one of the intersections all the way up to Greenfield Avenue and beyond, as I think it actually went up to Pleasant Street,
okay.
Of what the failure projected dates are. Of course, some of them were 2015, 2018, and they're working on it. But that was a kind of an interesting fact that I came across. So.
Okay. Let's talk about the nickel plate, because that kind of coincides also with 37. So the nickel plate trail running through Fishers. They've already, begun the tunnel under 116th Street to connect that trail south and north of 116th. Right now, it is fully completed between 131st, and it's also fully completed, from 131st all the way up to 146th Street.
Yeah, that's going to be a nice ride, walking trail and ride once they get that completely done. So.
Yeah, Noblesville's working on figuring out their piece of it, going north of 146th Street. So we'll see how that plays out, but all indications are they're going to be moving forward with continuing the nickel plate, going north. So. Yeah, overall, we wouldn't be doing our job if we weren't tying this into real estate in some way. So. Whenever I think about the 37 project, I immediately think about Keystone. I think about 31s, aka Meridian, depending on how you want to refer to that. The effect that had on, Carmel, Westfield. Tom, what do you think 37, when it's fully completed, what's it going to do not only to Fishers, but also to Noblesville in regards to real estate?
So I can tell you 2 things I've had direct experience with. Number 1 was the Monon Trail. So I lived on the Monon Trail before it was the Monon Trail. It was the rails were still there.
Yeah.
Once the rails came in, or the path came in, the properties around it skyrocketed back in the 90s. And then the other one is with Keystone. I mean, you drove up and down. Keystone was horrible.
Oh, it was
sit there in every
rush hour traffic to go from 465 to I'll say 146th Street. I mean that used to take 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was horrible.
It was brutal.
And we never, people would avoid that area for living space.
That's right.
Now, people actually reach out and say, hey, I want to live at this intersection, or I want to live up close to Keystone, so they have easy access to it. And I think 37 is going to be the same way.
I think so. I agree completely with that. Just think about what happened to Westfield after those two roads got completed. Westfield just exploded. Because it really opened up that area to a whole new segment of folks that wanted to live in that area.
Yeah.
I think the drive time from 465 to Westfield High School, you can make that now on a busy day in, 10 minutes probably, give or take?
Yeah, we've got one of our team members that lives up north of 191st Street, and he can get down to Keystone Crossing. Tom Fisher, he can get down to Keystone Crossing in, I think he said 12 minutes.
Yeah, it's just night and day difference.
It's
so
big time. So it's
you're going to see that quite a bit. All that congestion that used to have, especially during rush hour at the 37 and 69 split, will be eliminated.
Yeah.
It'll just be a nice flow through, the city of Fishers, really into the southern part or the middle part of Noblesville before you even hit your first stoplight.
It's going to be nice. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so Tom and Mike, Property Pilots, glad to do our updates. Obviously, if you have any questions or want us to cover anything specific, put it in the comments. We'll be monitoring that. And we would be negligent if we didn't say if you were thinking about buying or selling, it'd be our pleasure to help you out. Reach out to us. So. All right, till next time. Here we go.
See you guys.
See you. So.
Monique, how you feeling?
I'm a little nauseous.
Are you?
Are you? Look around. Look around. Don't look in one place the whole time.
Yeah, look all the way out at the horizon.
Why don't you open up and give her one of those little treat bags in there?
Yeah.
Just in case. There you go. Just in case.
Just in case.
We love you.
Do you have air on you? Get a little air on you there. That usually helps.
I haven't even done any maneuvers yet. All right. Are you? Yeah. Don't puke on camera though. If we get that, that's like black. We have videos free for a year.